Hi everyone, thank you for joining me today. My name is Sarah Hunstead. I'm a paediatric nurse, mum of two, and founder of CPR Kids. And what we do is empower parents and families with the life-saving skills of baby and child first aid and recognition of the sick child. And we do that by holding classes all over New South Wales and Queensland. We do that face-to-face. And we also have lots of online things like this today, and we've got other online courses too. But today, what I am talking about is what to do if your child is bitten by a snake or a funnel web spider. So, what we're going to do is initially, I'm going to tell you a little bit about redback spider bite because that is a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different to what the first aid is for a snake or funnel web-like spider. So a redback spider, I don't know about you, but I have them all over my house and backyard. And I live about 6 kilometers from the city. So they're not just something that you get rurally. I don't know about you, but I have got them everywhere. So it's really important that you do know what to do. So if your child is bitten by a redback spider, or you suspect they've been bitten by a redback spider, first of all, they're probably going to be in a lot of pain because redback spider bites are incredibly, incredibly painful. What you might see at the bite site, and this is might, okay, it is not definitive that this will happen, is you might see a reddened area and you may see patches of sweat on the area, like beads of sweat. Maybe, maybe not, okay? Now, what you are going to do, you are not going to cut the area, apply a tourniquet, suck the venom out. That's a big no, okay? Same for snake and funnel web spider bites. No tourniquets, okay? No cutting the area and sucking the venom out. Doesn't work. Don't do it, okay? So please don't do any of that. Now, one really important thing for a redback spider bite is that you apply cold to help relieve the pain. So you apply cold. It might be, you might have some ice. Make sure you don't put ice directly on the skin. Make sure that you put a layer between it, maybe like a tea towel or something like that, or a cold pack out of the fridge. Pop that on for pain relief and seek medical help. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Cold and seek medical help for redback spider bite. Now, let's get into the funnel web and snake and blue-ringed octopus and cone snail, because the first aid is the same for all 4 of these creatures. So snakes, okay, don't try unless you are I think a snake expert is called a herpetologist, okay. I'm pleased that somebody correct me if I'm wrong there. Please do. So what we want you to do is that if it's any type of snake, don't try and identify it unless you're an expert. Just presume it is venomous. Okay, so got that. Funnel web or funnel web-like spiders, like a mouse spider, so those big black spiders. Okay, a blue-ringed octopus or cone snail envenomation. All right, they're the creatures that you're going to use this pressure immobilisation technique for. So in your first aid kit or in your home, what I'd love you to do is please have something like this. This is an indicator bandage, and what this does is that it's a heavyweight, broad bandage that is perfect for the pressure immobilisation technique. And you see here that we've got rectangles. So when you wrap it round and the rectangles turn to squares, that indicates that the bandage is at the right pressure. You don't have to use this. You can use any other heavyweight bandage, something you might strap a sprained ankle for. Just make sure it's heavyweight and it's broad. But at the end of the day, you use what you have, okay? But if you know that you have snakes, if you know that you have funnel webs, if you go bushwalking, make sure that you have at least 2 of these in the car or in your home. Okay, it's sensible to, stock up beforehand so you've got it. But at the end of the day, if you didn't and you're bitten, use anything that you have. Okay, important. So what is the pressure immobilisation? What does it do? So a long time ago, we thought that putting a tourniquet around would stop the blood flow and that would stop the flow of venom. Turns out that doesn't work. Okay, because the venom actually flows through initially through the lymph. So what we want to do is apply a bandage that puts firm pressure to slow the flow of lymph, and that's the purpose of it. Okay, so what are we going to do? Say your child has been bitten by a snake. First thing we're going to do is follow doctor's ABCD. Okay, really important. If you don't know what that is, you need to do a first aid course. Okay, so following doctor's ABCD, if they're alert and they're breathing, we are going on to the next stage, which is we're going to keep them calm and still. Okay, calm and still. You are going to need to stay calm, which is really, really hard. I get that, but it needs to happen. So calm and still, because if they get up and walk or run, then what happens is that venom is just being transported all around the body, and that's not what we want. Calm and still is what we want. Okay. Remember, we've got to slow that transportation of venom through the body. Yeah. So we're going to remove any jewelry or anything constrictive that is on the limb that's been bitten. So for example, if I was bitten on this arm, if I'm able to, I'm going to get those rings off if I can. Okay. You can bandage over clothing, unless it's, very easy to remove, then do so. But otherwise, just bandage over the clothing. Just remember, at the end of the day, we want to get this pressure bandage on, and we need help coming to us. So remember, we don't want this baby, child, human, as in grown up. That's the word I'm looking for, not human, grown up and walking around or running. Remember, we want them still. We want help to come to us. So you're calling 000 very, very quickly to have help coming to you. So we are going to apply pressure bandage. So where everything that I'm talking to you about today, our guidelines come from the Australian Resuscitation Council, and also we use the Australian Venom Research Unit, because these guys are the absolute gurus when it comes to envenomation. They are the experts. Now, one thing you may notice is that there are different reputable, good sources say different things about how to apply this bandage. Some say to wrap around the bite site and then go down and up the limb. Some say start at the bottom of the limb and wind all the way up. So we were a bit confused by this too. So we asked the gurus at the Australian Venom Research Unit, which is correct. We see all this conflicting stuff, or what do we do? What do we teach? And they said, basically, at the end of the day, you just got to get the pressure bandage on. Whatever way is easiest for people to remember, go ahead and teach that. But the important thing is calm and still, help coming. Don't let them get up and run around or walk around, and get the pressure bandage on. So that's the important things. So what we're going to do, imagine little Annie here has been bitten just here. Okay. I am going to start at the bottom of her limb, and I'm going to wrap this around. Okay. You may need 2 bandages or 3 bandages in a grown-up. In her, just the one is enough. I'm going to leave the tips of the toes exposed. On this, what I'll probably do is I'll probably use some scissors and cut just the tip of her onesie off so I can see her toes. Okay. If it wasn't easy just to whip that off quickly. Okay. Every situation's different. You just got to do what you can with what you've got. Okay. We're going to wrap this around half each time. What I mean by that is I'm overlapping the bandage 1/2 each time. Now I'm holding her like this just so I can show you what I'm doing. Obviously, if it's a child, you're holding them away in a way that you can keep them calm and still and get this on. If there's 2 people with you, then you could be comforting and holding, and somebody else is getting it on. Every situation's different. Do the best with what you've got. Okay. So I'm overlapping this nice and firm. You can see that my rectangles have turned into squares here. Okay, so remember, it's about as firm as what you'd strap a sprained ankle, so it's quite firm. Okay, but we're not cutting off the blood circulation. And I have gone all the way up to the top of her limb. So she's bandaged from the end of the limb all the way to the top. Even if she's bitten on a toe, I'm going all the way to the top of that limb, so right up to her hips here. If she was bitten on the arm, I would expose the tips of the fingers, and I would go all the way from the fingers all the way to the top up here, all the way to the top of her shoulder. So we're going all the way up. Really important. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a splint, because remember, we don't want her moving around, that limb moving around. I happen to have in my first aid kit a splint. This is a conforming splint. You use whatever you can get your hands on that is going to safely stop that limb from moving, okay? So I would then wrap this around, and I would ensure that help is on its way, okay? Really, really important. Now, there is an app that I want you to download. It is called the Australian Bites and Stings app, and I will put the link to that in the comments below as soon as we've finished here. The Australian Bites and Stings app, it lists basically every creature in Australia that can bite or sting you, signs and symptoms of the envenomation, and the first aid, the what to do. So please, please, please download that. Okay, I'll put the link in the comments below down there. So it's a free app. We're not sponsored or anything like that. It's just a fantastic resource. It really, really is. So make sure you get that. The other thing too is that if I did have my envenomation kit there, so I've got my my first aid kit and it's got a marker in it, I would also mark on the bandage the bite site, because what we want is that when, you know, Annie here does get to hospital, that the doctors and nurses know where she was actually bitten. Okay, very, very important that you don't try to catch the creature. That's, you know, you'll probably end up getting bitten as well, because remember, these creatures, they don't want to bite us. Snakes, I've been to lots of different conferences where we've been talked to by snake experts, and they, you know, the common theme that I've heard is that snakes, you know, they bite when they're scared, when they're threatened. They don't want to bite you. So it's really important to retreat away. Don't chase the snake. Don't try and kill it. Just stay away. Okay, really, really important. Yeah, they don't want to hurt you. It's yeah, they're just defending themselves, that's all. And you know, that's one thing that often people think that they need to do, is that they need to go and kill the snake. No. Okay, so remember, the no's are no tourniquet, no chasing after the creature, you'll end up getting hurt yourself. Okay, don't do that. No, I said no tourniquets, didn't I? Good. Don't cut the area, don't try and suck any venom out or anything like that. Really, really important. All right. And the creatures that you're going to use the pressure immobilisation for are funnel web and funnel web-like spiders. You're going to use them for cone snails, for blue-ringed octopus, and for snakes. Okay, that's what we're using this method for. Really, really important. Now, this, of course, is just an overview today. So I want you to make sure that you download the Bites and Stings app. Really go through it. Okay, go through it. Become really familiar. If you are in a snake or a funnel web area, if you do go bushwalking, go to your local pharmacy, invest in these, okay? Google snakebite first aid kit and buy one. Keep it in the car, because, you know, every time we go bushwalking, I always have at least 2 of these in there, because once again, I live 6 k's from the city. We've got reserves just kind of across the road here. There are red belly black snakes in there. They're everywhere. You don't have to be in a rural area to have snakes around. So not saying that to scare you. I mean, we've got to live with them. We're in their territory. It's not that. It's just about being prepared. That's all. And the other thing too is thinking about prevention of snake and spider bite as well. And there's lots of fabulous resources out there. I encourage you to go for a little Google search around your area. Say if you're in Queensland, just Google prevention of snake bite in Queensland. There are some fabulous sites that'll come up and just talk about different ways of, you know, like keeping your yards clean and doing the snake stomp when you walk through bush and things like that. So there's lots of things that you can do. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention before we finish up, if you've got any questions, please just type them in the comments now while we're live. If you're watching the recording, sorry, but please feel free to direct message us, just DM us, and we'll answer any questions we can. But on October 16, it is World Restart a Heart Day, and we are doing a webinar to teach you baby and child CPR. All we ask you for is a $5 donation, that all the proceeds of that will go to Heart of the Nation, okay? Nicole. Nicole has asked a great question. What if the bite's on the torso? Nicole, you're on it. Fantastic. So let me tell you. Now, what's not recommended is for, say, if a bite is on the torso or the neck, things like that. If we will put too much pressure if we're wrapping around, that's not going to, you can obstruct breathing and so on. So what you're going to do, you're going to keep the person calm and still, okay? Calm and still. You are going to get that 000 operator on the phone. You're going to tell them where they're bitten, and they will instruct you what to do depending on where that bite is. They may instruct you to put firm pressure. Say the bite's here. And the reason I go there is because I heard this story of a man in the Blue Mountains who took his shirt off the line to put it on, and there was a funnel web in it. So he got bitten right there. I remember reading that on the ABC News. So firm direct pressure over the top of the bite there, calm and still, and help coming. So that's why it depends on where the bite is. So get 000 on the phone. That is the most important thing you can do, and follow the direction. They will instruct you what to do as according to where that bite is. Really, really important. And the other thing mentioning as well is, ideally, we want help coming to us. We don't want, obviously us moving the patient, getting them up and walking, those sorts of things. But if you are in a rural area, your instructions may be different. Just follow whatever it is that 000 operator is telling you to do. Okay. Thank you, Nicole. Great question. Thank you very, very much. All right. Any other questions before we finish up? If not, I hope that has been useful. I'll pop the link to the Australian Bites and Stings app down below. Everything that I've talked to you about today has come from the Australian Venom Research Unit and the Australian Resuscitation Council guidelines. Please feel free to Google those and look them up. As always, if there's something you would like us to talk about on our Facebook Live, please let us know. And I would love to see you on the 16th of October. We're doing a webinar in the evening. I think it's going to be at 8 p.m, so kids will be in bed, and we will teach you baby and child CPR. The cost is $5, and all of those proceeds go to Heart of the Nation. Okay, so thanks, everyone. See you.